Hello everybody, welcome back again. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're enjoying the afternoon or the morning depending on where you are. I've had a nice lunch of chicken and rice. That's quite good. I'm enjoying that. And I'm here today for Masterclass. We're going to be doing a lot on paper piecing today, but we have the lovely Jan with us. Hello Jan, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. At least that was a step up from my lunch.
What did you have?
I didn't have much of anything.
Oh.
I didn't know that our cafe was closed today because our lovely Christina's on holiday, so I didn't know that. And I came along and so I've had a bag of crisps.
Oh dear. Oh well.
Better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, but other than
Christina,
that,
we miss you.
Oh, I know. She shouldn't be allowed to have holidays, should she? That's just not on, is it?
No. Well, she should have left us a really big supply of cake to keep us going over the last 2 weeks while she's been away. We're definitely going to be looking forward to her coming back.
Yeah, she should have filled the freezer up for us, shouldn't she?
Absolutely.
So we could have just popped it in the microwave. Have a word when she comes back.
Yeah, sort it out for next time. So we're going to be doing lots of paper piecing, and one of the things that we've got on the show is this craft kit. So if you want to dabble, you're not sure about paper piecing, you don't know if you want to try it, this is the item for you. So in here you're going to be getting all the bits and pieces you need to get started with paper piecing. You're going to be getting dies, you're going to be getting cardstock, card blanks, envelopes, you're getting sentiments and embellishments in there as well. And just look at that price, £15 or $15, and your platinum price is £12 or $12. You've got so many different things in here, and Jan, you've got a box to show us exactly what you're going to get, haven't you?
We're going to have a look, we're going to have a look inside. So anybody that's new to these, they're actually designed sort of basically for you to dip your toe in the market, really. So, you know, if you fancy having a go at paper piecing, you've got everything you need in here. The only thing that you would need to add is some kind of adhesive to stick things together with. Everything else is in the box. All the cardstock, the paper, like Becky's just said, we'll go through all the contents. Basically to make, you know, sort of little 6x4 inch cards. That's the size of the card blanks, and there are 16 of those. So obviously we've makes a minimum of 16 cards because the dies and the stamps and things like that can go on, and you can make other cards with your own card blanks. So a little bit of inspiration on the front there. I've got some of the samples here to show you as well. And for those of you that are collecting, this one's box number 50. You can just see there, they've all got the numbers on the edge. So we're a fair way through these now. And I know a lot of you have got a whole shelf of them with them all on. So I was saying earlier, I've got a lot of these. I have got an odd one or two missing, but I've got a lot of them. So each box is presented pretty much in the same way. We've got that lovely introduction from our Sarah there. And then they're all sent, you know, all beautifully wrapped. It is literally like unwrapping a gift, and they do make excellent gifts if you've got crafty friends out there. So I'm going to take a couple of the bits out, and I like to sort of start from the bottom and work my way up with these. It all comes in gorgeous packaging. Everything's labelled up so that you know what's in that package, and I always save that sort of polka dot packaging as well. So in the bottom there, I'm just going to move the bits because I've been prepping some demos. I've got some sort of oddments in mine. Yours will all be full 8x8 sheets. So you get a selection of double-sided cardstock. So again, you can see the pieces that I've chopped into there, but beautiful colourways in here. Really nice sort of almost quite a summery palette in there. And as I say, it's double-sided, 8x8 inches. So that's the cardstock itself. And then you've got a selection of pattern paper that's going to coordinate. So for example, you know, you can see you've got the greens there, gorgeous, depending on if you like to map in layering monochrome. I mean, that one would go beautiful with that darker pink there. Yep. You know, really pretty. I love this. I've used this in one of the demos. Really pretty designs there. So you've got several sheets of that. And then we've also popped in there some black and white card. Now, I'm actually going to use a piece of the black to cut out the die and use that as my sort of, in effect, my line art. It's like a skeleton outline, and then we're going to fill in some of the pieces. So that's the actual cardstock, which is, you know, a consumer consumable element. So once you've worked your way through that, you can then start and introduce cardstock from your paper pads and things like that. You might want to start and introduce some sort of inked backgrounds, whatever you fancy really. So I'm going to pop that back in there. Then we have got our envelopes and our card blanks. So like I said, you've got the little 6x4 inch card blanks there, along with envelopes to match. So there are an equal amount of envelopes that are just the right size. You've not got to worry about, you know, what you're going to put something in when it's finished. So I'm going to pop those back in there. That's the card blanks and the envelopes. And then the main feature of this particular box is that paper piecing, and you've got two beautiful, like I said, they're almost like a skeleton die, like an outline. So they cut out a really nice filigree outline for you to then pop pieces back in. And you can see that there's some really nice big open spaces where we're going to sort of drop those pieces back in. And I'm going to show you how this works with on this one now. Okay. So we've got the rose, and then you've got the gorgeous little butterfly as well. So two different dies, cut out a whole piece to make a topper to go on your project, however you want to do it. And then you've got all these little areas that you can pop those pieces back in. Now, in order to do that, if you weren't watching this morning, we actually demonstrated some of this morning. We've got what we call the hold and release sheets, and we've put you a good wadge of these. I don't know how many there are in total, but there's a good wadge of those in there, and these are just the right size to work with the dies.
16 pieces.
16,
yeah.
That's a good amount. They are, again, a consumable. They're not intended for repeat use, and you'll understand what I mean by that when we do the die cutting, but they're actually intended to hold your paper pieces. So the top of this is actually a cover sheet which just lifts and reveals underneath a tacky element. It's not sticky. It's not like a double-sided adhesive where you would actually stick your card down. And as I say, I'll go through this in a bit more detail when we come to do the demo. So that's the metal work in there, along with your hold and release sheet. You can buy this separately. So if you think this is something that you're really going to enjoy, we do sell the hold and release sheet in an A5 pack separately. That's the dies there. You've got a gorgeous set of stamps in there as well. I just bring that one back out. You can see there we've got a really nice selection of everyday, what I call everyday ones. Happy birthdays, thinking of yous, get well, congratulations. And then you've got some really nice, you know, sort of fluttering by just to say hi. That's obviously nice. That's a nice one to go with your butterfly. Live life in full bloom, really nice one to go with the floral aspects. You are my sunshine, you're beautiful inside and out, have a beautiful day, sending you a little smile. So, and then there's even some little floral elements on there as well if you want to decorate the envelopes, things like that. So again, really, really useful, and those are going to keep as well. And then, as always, with each of the, if you are a collector of these, you'll know there's always some kind of embellishments in there as well. So in this one, we've got a pack of 3 different size ribbon. So I think we're probably looking at about 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, and 1/4 of an inch, I would estimate there. In the beautiful colourway, again, I love them sort of candy colours that are going to complement those papers and cardstock there. And then we've also, one of my favourites in here, I collect these, I'm like a magpie with them. The little dewdrops, I just think they're really, really nice. They're clear. If you haven't seen them before, the reason we call them that is because when you drop them onto a card, they just look like those little droplets of morning dew. But you can actually add colour to them as well. And if you use your alcohol markers to colour them, because they're clear underneath, you get like that real gem-like quality to them. So again, you know, you can colour them in and sort of accent them onto your projects there. So yeah, a whole sort of wealth of stash in there for you to have a play with. And like I said, there's plenty of inspiration on the packaging. I'm going to show you some samples that our design team have had a go at as well. So we've got some with the butterfly. So if I just show you these on here, you can see, you know, it's a good size, that one. And that's just been matted and layered onto another piece and then fussy cut using papers and the stamps and the cardstock there from that kit. So using it as a topper on the fold back, some of those little dewdrops there just to create, I don't think you can pick those up there, just creates like the little trail that the butterflies left just across here. It's very, very faint. Our Charlotte's coming to have a look. There you go, look.
It's very effective, that.
It's very, very pretty, isn't it? But you can see all those gorgeous pieces that have been dropped back in for the paping. This has been done using the cardstock out of the kit there with the colours in there. Alternatively, we've done it to go onto a little easel card there. So this is actually the focal point fluttering by, just to say. Again, using sort of elements from that cardstock to fill in. That black outline is quite striking for the line art there. It's almost like stamping a black image and then colouring it in. Again, we've just done it on a little stepper card there. You can see we've used 2 of the butterflies. You can see that technique's pretty much the same on all of them there. Just dropping in the colour, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do, but just mixing and matching, even using little strips of the paper that are left over, sending you a little smile. So that was the butterfly element, and then we're going to start off with that lovely rose. But again, just look at that. So it looks like the cherry red Centura pearl dropped back into it there. Can you just see that shimmer and sheen on that one? That's gorgeous. Really pretty. And then again, using that paper, this is one of the papers from the pack, mixed and matched. I like the idea of using the pattern paper to paper piece as well.
Yeah.
Just on the leaves there, it's actually got some of the pattern, scraps of the pattern paper in there as well, which is really nice, rather than the, you tend to think more of the plains, but that's a nice little twist. I like that. And then again, just using those dewdrops on there as accents, a little bit of that 1/4 of an inch ribbon on there. You see how it all comes together really, really nicely. So I'm going to show you how they work as well. We're going to run a demo in with this one as well. So I need my little flower die, and we're going to take some elements from the kit. So I've just cut down a piece of the black cardstock. We're going to cut the flower out of the black to make the line art, and then I've got some of the yellow card to put in the petals, and I've got my piece of release sheet, which I'm going to show you how to work with. So we just need some plates from under there.
Lots of people messaging in to say hello. Very much looking forward to seeing the paper piecing demos today. Linda says, I love the subscription boxes. Good morning from Terry. Lovely to see Janice in the house.
Thank you, guys.
She didn't say it like that, I'm just saying it like that. Yeah, I think everyone's really looking forward to seeing how to use these release sheets and how easy it is to use this.
It does. It sort of really has made it accessible. I will be honest, I was never a big lover of paper. I love the effect of paper piecing, but I always found it very, very fiddly and fussy and time consuming. And I thought, you know, it had to be a really special card that I was working on in order for it to take that much time and sort of effort in there. But honestly, if you haven't seen the release sheets up until today, it really has altered the way you think about it. So that one, I mean, just this on its own to use as a topper is absolutely, just look how delicate that's cut.
Beautiful, yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Very effective.
So again, we'll just get rid of all, we don't need to keep any of the black pieces, so I'm just going to get rid of those and then show you how that release paper works. So it's like a cross between cardstock and a thin foam, and the job of it is to just hold the card. So again, I'm just going to take that top layer off. That's the carrier sheet. We don't need to keep that piece. That one is rubbish. And then this is sort of, I'd call it tacky rather than sticky. It's not meant to be sticky. It's not like a double-sided adhesive where we're going to stick the card to it. We just want it to hold the cardstock in place. If ever you've tried paper piecing before, you know, you cut your die out again and you just saw all those black pieces that fell out when I lifted this piece off the plate. And then you've got to work out of all that jumble of pieces that are left, which bit fits back where. This just alters the game. It really does. So all I've done is I'm not pressing it down. I don't want it to be stuck to there. I just want it to hold on to it. So I've just laid it over the top, and then we're going to pass this through our machine again with the same die, exactly the same die. So I'm just going to pop that on top again. Just tack it down. Now, because I don't want to cut out the release sheet or the foam, whichever you want to refer to it as, I actually want to change my plate combination, because if I put all these on now, there's a fear with the pressure in the Gemini that it's going to cut straight through the lot and we haven't actually gained anything. What I want to do is cut through the cardstock but keep the release sheet intact. So I'm going to take out my magnetic shim. We don't actually need that in the equation. I'm just going to put the frosted shim on and my other clear cutting plate and pass that through again, and what that's going to do, it's going to allow enough pressure to cut into that layer of yellow card but not enough pressure to force it into that release paper. So when I show you what I mean there, if we look on the back, there's no, when you're used to seeing on the back of here when we've cut with the Gemini, there's usually the outline of the die on the back. There's nothing on the back, but when I take this off the front, you can see that that's cut that design there perfectly.
Yes.
Yep. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to lift basically this bit. I don't want the bit that's actually got the design on it, so I'm going to lift some of the waste off first. So we don't need that outside edge. And I'm also going to lift the actual part of the die that's got, which is technically this part, the flower. So I'm going to take that one and I'm just going to very, very carefully, because you can reuse this then, you've actually got this bit cut in yellow. But I just want to lift it off carefully in case I want to use it on another project. I would keep this one then as a spare. But can you see it's leaving behind all the bits that were technically the waste out of this black one. When we cut the black one, all those pieces just fell out onto my cutting plate and just ended up in a big jumble. If there's any that look as if they're hanging on, just pop them through with your pokey tool. You want all the spare bits that are technically the waste to stay on that little piece of grid. So this is actually the flower itself, same as this one. And this is the bit that's left. So if I actually pop this over the top now, we could literally see how that's going to work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Now I'm just noticing there, it is still there, it's just moved a little bit. I thought I'd lost a piece then. So that's that one. And then I've done exactly the same in a scrap of green. So I've just taken some green out of my scrap stash and I've done the same again. So again, I want to take away that outside layer. We don't need that piece. And then we're going to take away that lovely line art again. And this is going to reveal, because I want to put green in the leaves and yellow in the petals. And all we need to add to it then is a little bit of glue. So we need something to fasten that detail onto. So again,
and like you say, using your scraps, paper piecing is fantastic for all those tiny bits of paper that we don't want to throw away.
We always keep them, just in case you might need them one day. So, you know, I've actually now got 2 extra outlines there, which I can keep. I would probably keep those in my box just in case they came in handy for another project. So I've got these 2 at the ready and I've got my outline at the ready. So what I want to do next is I've just done a little bit of matting and layering. I've taken one of the card blanks and I'm going to use it landscape with the fold at the top here. And then you can see I've taken that look, it's almost like a coral pink, that one, and a piece of the paper, and just done some matting and layering and brought in a little piece of that. I think this is the 1/2 inch ribbon out of that embellishment kit. So I want to stick that one down because I'm going to work straight onto the top of the card for this one. We're going to pop the flower outline down and then work straight onto the top of it. So this is going to be my mat and layer.
I've had a question come in.
Yeah.
Joe says, I watched earlier and saw you adjust the sandwich when you put in the hold and release sheet through. Is there a way to use the MIDI for that step? How would you adjust it?
Right, we did have this question earlier, didn't we? And I haven't actually had a chance to try it in the break, but what we thought about was, because we're altering the depth of the plate sandwich, basically. Obviously, with the MIDI, you can't do that because you would actually be using your plastic folder that goes in the MIDI like this one. So what I suggested, and I haven't had a chance to try it yet, along with your plastic folder you get the purple shim, which I couldn't quite put my hands on earlier. There will be one knocking about somewhere but I can't just see it off the top of my head there. But you've got the purple shim, all right, which we would normally use with an embossing folder. So you don't use the plastic folder, you just use your embossing folder on top of the purple shim. So what I would be trying, and there will be a little bit of trial and error in this, I haven't had a chance to try it myself, is using the plastic shim as a base with your cardstock, your release sheet and your cardstock on. And then you would probably need to pop some shims. So maybe, and by shims I mean just maybe a couple of pieces of cardstock over the top of it as your top piece, but there'd be a little bit of trial and error just to get that combination to the right depth to apply enough pressure to cut the cardstock, but not so much pressure that it goes through. If we put this in here, I mean, I haven't tried it. It may be that it works just in the folder. That might be sufficient. It might be worth having a go like that. But if you find that it cuts all the way through, then obviously that's too thick an element. It's just a case of thinning that out a bit. And the only way you can do that is to use the plastic shim with maybe a couple of bits of cardstock. So I will try, in the break, I will try and have a go at it and see if I can figure out what that combination needs to be for you.
Thanks, Jan.
So let's have a little look then. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this one straight onto the card like so, and then we're going to paper piece over the top. So I'm not too worried that there's ribbon under there, because my tacky glue, which is what I'm going to use as a wet glue, which I always decant into the little applicator bottle. So we're going to use that one with the fine nozzle. That will stick over my ribbon as well, so I'm not too worried about that. To get this onto my card blank, we're going to go with the dotty tape pen there. And I just want some scrap card. Let me just grab a piece of cardstock just to catch, because it's very, very filigree, that one. I'm just going to pop it on some scrap. And again, just get the dots working. And you want a really light touch with those dots, just following the line of the die. So what I mean by that is I would never come in this way from the outside, because it's going to lift this and there's a fear of damaging it. So I would always turn it and come from the die cut to the outside. And we just want to lay some of those dots down on that outline, round the edge there, and just a few in the middle. And I'm constantly turning the pen or the artwork just to get that in the right place there. And then that one's going to go straight onto my card blank, just slightly to one side so that I can fit a sentiment on. Place it down, and then when you're happy with it, I tend to give it a good press from the back of there, because if you do this over the actual artwork itself, there's a chance again that you're going to damage. It's very, very sort of delicate, that one. So that's now, and I mean, it looks nice just like that. You know, you might want to stop there and just leave it with that black outline, or maybe cut it a couple of times and offset it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to bring some of the colours back in, and I'm going to do all the petals from the rose in the yellow, and then I'm going to do the leaves in the green. So I've got both of those at the ready. All I'm going to add to that equation is my tacky glue there. Give it a little shake and just work with so many at a time. I'm not going to try and do the whole thing at once. So all I'm going to do is pop a little bit of glue into the petals there, and probably do sort of 3 or 4 at a time. If you do too many and the glue starts to dry, it sort of doesn't work as well. And then literally all I'm going to do is lift the piece off the release sheet and drop it back in its corresponding pattern on the die. Tweezers become your friend with this, because you can then place it perfectly. So again, look for the corresponding piece, take it off the release sheet, drop it into the area that you've popped your glue, and it is as simple as that. You've got every single piece that you need exactly where you want it. There's not a case of choosing a piece and working your way around thinking, oh, does it fit this one? Does it fit that one? Have I got the right piece? Do I need... The number of times I said this earlier where I've done this and you get to the end and there's a bit missing, and your heart sinks, because you then have to spend the next 10 minutes rummaging through the bin trying to find the piece that's the right shape to fit. Otherwise, you know, and in the end you think it would have actually been quicker to just cut it again, Jan, you know, but no, something in you tells you that you've got to find that one piece that's missing. And this is just so much much easier. Just lift it off here. Because it's not stuck to it, it's just holding it. You've got them there ready to just drop back in to that piece where you've got the gap on your design. It is so simple. So I'm just going to go around with all the yellow pieces first and drop those into the petal area. So we can see, again, if I bring this to the side of it, we can see the next one is going to be that one into here.
Maricel said, could you take the line art from other colours and colour them in black with alcohol markers?
Yes,
Yep.
you could, yes. So these pieces that we've cut, you could. If you wanted to use this again as black, absolutely, just pop that marker over there and colour it in. That's a really good idea. Saves having to, not, you know, if you don't want to work with the coloured line art, really good one. So again, even over the ribbon, the tacky glue will hold those in place. And if you do happen to get any little smudges, just let it dry, because the tacky glue dries clear. We don't need to worry too much about what that looks like on your cardstock. So instead of rubbing it at the time that it's wet, just let it dry and it will dry clear. So these little tiny bits I'm just going to pick up with my...
But there's no way you could keep hold of those tiny pieces and have them even facing the right way without that sheet, would you?
No.
It's so difficult.
And just trying to work out which bits went where, because as I say, they don't stay like this. When you die cut, you saw the black one that I did first, there were just bits everywhere where they'd fallen out of the die. So this is just easy, because you know that it's going from one part of that pattern straight in there. Even those little tiny pieces, like you say, you'd be struggling to work out which bit was which. And as I say, the tweezers are a really good, if you don't have tweezers, then this is the time to invest in a pair, because it just makes life so much easier, being able to just grab hold of these. You know that I use my tweezers a lot. They become an extension of my fingers when I'm crafting, but for this, I do think it is worthwhile. So again, tiny little dots of the glue. Whoops.
And which tweezers are you using? Because we've got a pack of 4, haven't we?
Yeah, these are actually one of those sets. I've got all 4 sets in my bag, but I tend to use the plain ones more than anything, to be honest. But we've got the reverse tweezers, which are the ones that stay closed until you actually open them up. And there is a set with the little paddles on the end. I don't know what all the names are for the other pieces.
And there are other ones that are angled, aren't they?
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. So again, even those little tiny ones, it's just a case of working out where you took it from on your sheet and fitting it back in the right place on that pattern there. So again, that one's not playing. Little tiny ones there.
It really is minute, that little
They are, but they're transferring from one place into the next. So it's just a case of lifting it, and then, as I say, I'd have no chance with my fingers for these. I'd just like to use the tweezers to pop everything into place. And if your tweezers do get the glue and get them, you know, they get a bit sticky, I just treat them to a little bit of stick away from the spray can and wipe them down with that, and it just takes all the sticky away. So again, you can see we've just got a few more pieces to do. The tiny pieces are a little bit more sort of time consuming than the bigger ones. Obviously they're going to go in really nice and easy now. So again, we've got that one smaller piece in the middle there, but I just think it gives a really nice finished result. And the recipient, you know, they're going to be looking at it and running the finger over it, thinking, how on earth, how's that been done? You know, how have you got all those pieces back in there in a different colour? It's a really clever technique. It's a very old-fashioned technique, Becky. I think they used to do this years and years ago.
Like a Victorian type.
Yeah. It's sort of, when you actually research it, it dates back such a long way. But you can just see now, like just taking them one at a time, following the design on my release sheet, and just popping them back in the gaps there. So every little bit, we could have even done a slightly darker yellow if you wish here where you've got the petal turned up. Technically, theoretically, it would be a wee bit darker underneath. So yeah, if you wanted to, you know, sort of just add a bit more depth to it, you could even cut that in a slightly different colour. But I'm just going to go with what we've got here. So again,
the good thing is they all stay, all those pieces stay on that release sheet.
Absolutely.
So you could cut it out of multiple different colours, couldn't you? And just using little aspects of them.
Yep.
But you would all be able to keep them together and use them again.
You'd be able to do more than one card, and that will show more when we do the butterfly, because if you've cut, say, maybe 2 or 3 different colours, the bits that are left are going to be the bits that would fit in a second design.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're going to get sort of like 2 for the price of 1. So like this, for example, I've got all the leaf parts left over in the yellow now that we're going to actually move over to the green. But I could do the reverse design and put the green petals off this one with the yellow leaves. So you get sort of 2 for the price of 1. So I'm just going to take a minute or 2 to go around the edge and do the leaves, Becky, and then we're just about ready for finishing off there.
Fabulous. That looks really good. Lots of people very appreciative of the step-by-step instructions. Rhonda says, I love paper piecing and this will make it so much easier with the release sheets. And Maricel says, well, I don't want to go to work. I want to paper piece all day.
Yeah, it's very relaxing now. It's not stressful at all with these. It used to be. I used to find it, as I say, quite stressful, and I would avoid it. But yeah, I love the finished effect, but it was just too much. Too time consuming, too stressful, losing that last little bit and spending an hour looking for it. But honestly, you can see how quick this is now. I'm just following that pattern round, taking the pieces off the sheet. Because they're not stuck, they're just held in place.
And it's a lovely thing that in this box, everything is going to match together. So if you are new to crafting, or perhaps you want to give these to, you know, grandkids or children, everything's all, you know, going to work.
I was just thinking they'd be really nice for the kiddies. I know there's such a lot of people that craft either with their own children or with the grandchildren, and this would be a really nice one for them to get involved with. You get such a nice finished result for sort of very little. You know, it's not hard what I'm doing here. It's just a case of taking your time, working the way around, just that little tiny bit of glue. You don't need a lot of glue in there at all. And then literally just popping those pieces back in. So yeah, for the kiddies, this would be a really nice little activity.
And they've got nimble fingers.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Not like mine. That's why my tweezers come in handy. So the last 2 pieces there, just in that.
Well, you even did those 2 pieces in one go.
I did. Yeah. Did a double at the end there. Yeah, I was just sort of like pushing my luck at the end there, wasn't I? It worked, thankfully. So again, we've got pop that in there. And you could, I just think that is really, really stunning. It really is. And all I'm going to add to that, the only thing that I'm going to add to it is a little sentiment. And I've just put, I thought, get well soon on there would be really nice. So again, pop that little bit of tape on the back. And we're just going to add that along level with the ribbon and just over the edge there. And that's literally all I'm going to do to it. You can add some of those little dewdrops on there if you want to accent it or if you wanted to colour them. But the basis of that was to basically show you how straightforward it makes that paper piecing. And don't forget, you've got those release sheets in the box, but we do sell them separately. If you find this is something that you're going to, you know, take a liking to, I would be adding one of those extra packs in. There's a pack of 10 sheets, and I've just cut into this one slightly. They're about the same size as your Gemini Junior plates, about A5 size. Okay. 10 sheets of it as a separate pack.
That's brilliant. And such a pretty card. Very, very nice. So this is your box. This is your monthly craft kit. This is your paper piecing one. 200 elements. The opportunity to make around about 16 cards. So you've got everything in there. You've got your card blanks. You've got your envelopes, embellishments, papers, dies, stamps. Everything you could possibly need in here. £15 or $15, or your platinum price is £12 or $12. Definitely check this out. It's really, really busy for this. Take the opportunity to check out your baskets, and we will see you in just a moment.
What makes Crafters TV so special is you guys. It's really special because the experts are really experts. They're really skilled at what they do, and they want to make sure that the audience also improves on their skills.
Crafters TV is so special because you've got together a really sort of key group of people and people that are very passionate about the product.
Crafters TV is so special because it's a unique community that we have with each other, where we can learn and grow and communicate with each other.
Community, the family spirit, the education, everything to do with craft. We are all like-minded people who share a passion.
I love all the inspiration the demonstrators bring and all the knowledge for us out here.
What makes Crafters TV so special, 100%, it's the interaction. No other crafting TV channel or show has the same interaction.
I love the community, I love chatting live, I think that's the best part. And it's gone beyond crafting because we've become friends.
It feels to me to be a really, really close relationship with our customers and viewers.
You guys make us feel like we're part of your family. I've never been on the show before, but one of my friends who I did meet from CCTV encouraged me, and I was on the craft along.
Massive team of people, and I think they've all got their role to play, and it just brings everything together. It allows us to do our job and just love it.
The people, obviously, the people not just here at Crafters Companion, but the viewers that watch us. I mean, everybody. We have this real magical essence about it.
Bye for now. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily. I've been part of Crafters Companion for about a year now. Can't believe it's been that long. It's absolutely flown by. How did my crafting journey start? Well, I have to say I've always been creative. I've always loved drawing, painting, making cards. I sort of started that when I was very, very young, making all my handmade Christmas cards, birthday cards, thank you cards, and from then on in it pretty much just stuck. So where am I from? So I currently live about 2 miles actually from head office here in County Durham, but I'm actually from Sheffield. Something that's really sort of close to my heart from where I'm from is the fact that we've got the Peak District just on our doorstep. Crafty inspirations, that's an interesting one. I have to say I'm inspired by so many different things. I'm inspired just by the team we have here at Crafters Companion. The craft experts are so inspiring. I learned so much from watching them, from sharing our ideas together, and I've actually watched the team on telly for so many years, even before I first come here. And I remember the first time sort of stepped through the doors here at the CTV studios, I was completely starstruck. And as well, our community that we have, our Crafters Companion family, that wider family that we interact online, you guys emailing into the shows, leaving all the comments, leaving pictures of your creations, I find so inspiring as well. It's a community where we all feed off of each other, a lovely, big, welcoming community. So I'm inspired by all you guys at home as well, which I think is absolutely lovely. What do I do apart from crafting? Well, I absolutely love running. I love being out in the open spaces, come rain or shine or snow or hail or whatever the weather throws us. So what does make Crafters TV so special? Well, I'm going to have to go with a very corny, very cheesy answer, but it is true. It's you guys at home, it's the viewers. If it wasn't for you guys watching, your amazing interaction, all your lovely comments, your feedback, your mates that you send through, Crafters TV would not be the same. We wouldn't be here without you guys at the end of the day. Ooh, big crafting fails or accidents on screen. That's an interesting one. I don't think I've had anything too disastrous. I'll be back on next week and I'll have a crafting disaster you watch now.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed hearing more about the lovely Lily. It was nice to see Lily on the video and finding out. I didn't even know she was from Sheffield, and I've worked with her loads. It's funny how those things are. Right, the other thing we've got on the show are our 3-in-1 creator card die collection, which are absolutely beautiful. These are such a huge die that you're getting in here. There's lots of metal, so you can use these for 3 different types of card in each one. So you can see, you can have just the outside sort of framework of the die. You could have the one with more of an image, and then the one at the very bottom, you've just got that sort of center image in there. This one is your elegant fairy. The next one we've got is your floral peacock. And then we have your butterfly garden. The next one is your daisies and dragonflies. And then we have your celebration cake. And finally, your balloon bouquet. So this is £60 or $70. Your platinum price is £48 or $56. Are you using this one?
I am.
I was very organised then, wasn't I? Very proud of myself.
We are. We're going to use
Jan.
that balloon bouquet. I love these, honestly. Well, I hadn't seen them prior to sort of planning this show. But the idea behind these, I just love the fact that in one packet alone, you've got 3 different possibilities. And then if you times that by the 6 designs, that's 18 different possibilities that you're actually purchasing when you buy into this as a bundle. I know some of you might just want to cherry pick, but when you've got all of them there, you've got, all that mix and match facility. So the idea behind this, Becky's just touched on those 3 different designs. They are a 5 by 7, so again, they're a good size for a focal point. They're part of our creator card range, which has come, sort of, we've got a lot of different ranges in that that little tab. And the idea behind these is you don't need to do much more than cut the die to make your card. It literally creates your card, which is where it gets its little name from. So the balloon bouquet on this one, again, each die comes in 2 pieces. So if we just take those elements off that carrier sheet, and you have got that outline die, and I'm just going to bring in my cardstock there so that you can see that. And that's going to create that beautiful border that you see in the first part of the design. So remember, we were talking 3 designs in one. So you may just want to use that border and make a card. For example, it's not the same border. This is one of the other designs. But this one, beautiful. It's just been done with some inking at the top and then that gorgeous green glitter card behind there. And then we've used it to pop a sentiment in the centre. Absolutely stunning as it is, that one. So that's one of the other borders. You could equally have done it with the balloon border there. And then we give you the second element. So if I take that one away and we use the beautiful bouquet of balloons there, these cut into the card. There's no complete cutting edge around the outside of it. So this cuts into your card. So this is where number 2 comes in. You can just see that design cut in there, being a little bit of paper piecing done inside it there. So again, that would cut into the centre of it. I've found that all of the designs, they're not that difficult, that if you wanted to fussy cut around the outside, you could even make them into a topper element as well, rather than it being cut into your card. And then your third element of the 3-in-1 is you can see the gap in that metalwork has been designed specifically to lay that central element back in the middle and have the whole thing together. And that's what we're going to do on our piece of card to create this kind of look here. And then because it's a paper piecing show, we're going to have a look at popping some of those pieces back in using that release paper again. So first thing we need to do is cut that die. So I'm going to bring up my plates again, and I'm just going to use some royal blue Centura. This is our Centura Pearl. It's got that beautiful sheen on it, and it is a red, white and blue, this one, guys. So I just fancied for that celebration with the balloons, I just thought that's a really nice colour scheme to work with. So what I'm going to do is pop this one down, and again, I personally prefer to cut my card just that little bit bigger than what I need it, so that I've got somewhere to tack it down with the low tack tape. So you can always cut it down afterwards. And just a note before we stick that down on the embossing aspect. We talked about embossing a die earlier with your rubber embossing mat.
Yeah.
And these are a perfect one for doing that with. We'll do that as a second pass. But if you're looking at your die and you can see areas on that die, for example, when I look at the little crosses here, I've got elements that have a die cut edge around them that are going to cut away, but I've also got the extra little cross in there that are just openings in my die.
Okay.
If you've got any elements in your metalwork like that, they're going to emboss. For example, this one here, you've got that lovely sort of burst here with all the die cut edges, but around it I've got a series of dots that don't have a cutting edge, and that's the bit that's going to emboss. So anywhere that I've got elements that don't have a cutting edge, we're going to get that embossed feature. So it is worth doing the embossing on these as well. So again, let's just pop that one in place. I'm going to tack the actual frame to the cardstock, and then this one fits inside. Now I'm going to cut them both together, but if you're not too confident at cutting your dies all in one pass, I would suggest cutting the frame first, and then when you finish, take that die away and pop. You'll see that there's a gap inside it that's just the right shape to fit this in. But as long as you can see all the way around here that there's a gap, we're good to go. As long as those dies are not overlapping. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick that die in place with the tape again. So not so much to the card this time, I'm sticking it to itself.
Okay.
And we're going to pass that one through for our first cut. So a normal thin metal die, we're going to put all the plates in there and pass that through the Gemini. And then I'm going to swap out the magnetic shim for the embossing shim, and we're going to pass it through a second time. It must always be done in 2 passes. If you're going to do the embossing, don't be tempted to jump the gun and think, oh, well, I'll just stick this in at the same time, because you must take out that magnetic shim. Otherwise, it will annihilate the shim. And those of you that have done it will know what I mean. It doesn't just make a mess of it, it does annihilate it, honestly. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to just take off the 2 pieces of tape that are holding the frame down. I'm not too worried about the central part there because that's stuck to the metal work. And then we're going to flip it over. You can see that it's cut beautifully there. I've got all that design on the back, but I want to sort of emphasize those embossed areas. So I've got my die facing up this time, and I'm going to cover it with that embossing mat. And the job of this now is to push the cardstock into those little holes that don't have a cutting edge. So it is imperative that you take out. These two never, ever, ever play together. All right, they just don't like each other. So that one has to stay out of the equation, and we're just going to put the frosted shim and the top plate back on, and then pass it through a second time. And as I say, it has to be done in 2 separate passes for that reason alone, because we have to take this one out. Any of you that have done it with all of those in will know exactly what I mean about that rubber shim. The pressure has to go somewhere, and the rubber shim is the most delicate out of all the ones in there, and it literally it stretches it out of all control. It sort of ruches it, honestly. And I know, because I have done it in the past where I've forgotten to swap them out. I'm only human. But just, I think you'll be able to see it better from the other side on the Centura pearl. I can actually see the indentations where that is now. But let's take this away and have a look from that other side. So I'm going to just remove the tape that's holding the pieces together there, because that was just holding the actual metal work together in place.
You're right about that blue colour being very celebratory. It really is, isn't it?
I just thought, you know, I know the red, white and blue is traditionally what we associate with our friends over in the States, but I just thought for this type of card, it was a really nice colour scheme. So again, it's tempting to sort of dig at these and lift these off this way. I always turn it over, and I like to see that I'm lifting my cardstock out and nothing's snagging as I lift it off there. I'm in total control of what's coming off and where until we've technically got it all off that metal die there. And then when we have a look at this from the other side now, let me just find that other sheet again. We'll pop it on here, and then we'll see if our Charlotte wants to come and have a close look. Let's see what we can find on here. So I want to have a look. I've got little dots around here that are embossed. Just see.
Oh yes, I can see those.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then also around the little crosses, there is actually the vertical and the horizontal is die cut, and then you've got the diagonal lines are embossed. So it's only little extra details there, but I think it's worth it. And if your die is going to do that, why not, just for the sake of that second pass, another 18 seconds through the machine there, and you've got that beautiful sort of effect. I've got all embossed detail on the stars and the circles and the zigzags in here. Honestly, I wish you could see it as I can see it here, because it really does make a big difference to it. just for the sake of that one extra pass. So what I did with that, I've done exactly that at home, and I've just cut it down. You can see now where I've just taken a little bit off each side to make it the size that I want it for my project. Now you can start off at that size if you wish. You can see that that's literally the size of the die, but I don't have anything to stick it to there. I actually like to have that extra bit of card. This is just me personally. If you want to start off with your piece 5x7, absolutely fine. So I'm just going to flick over to that one, and then we're going to do the hold and release. So I need my balloon element there, and I just want to take as many of those little pieces that are, they're all stuck in now because I've done the...
Pam E said, Jan is so good. She always explains everything, so even newbies get the best ideas. And Shadiah says, I've just completed organising all my markers on the trays I just received. Talk about some duplicates. Oh dear. But
I think we're all the same, Shadiah. We're all the same. I've got a whole box full of stuff at home that's duplicate stuff that I've either ordered or, sort of thought I'd got it, and I keep saying I'm going to do some giveaways with it and never get round to it. But yeah, because I've embossed, obviously those little pieces are nicely stuck. So it's worth taking the time to just tap those pieces out, because...
If you don't, would it not cut properly?
No, that's what I was just going to say. If you try and die cut now, and there are elements of paper still in there from your first die cut, it's going to affect the outcome of the second pass through. Because there are pieces of card in there blocking the gap, you're not going to get the same effect on your next pass through with the next piece of card.
Right.
So it is worth, and I know some people like to give it a good old tap on the side of the, that's not me. A, I can't cope with all those bits going everywhere, and B, I just can't do it to the dies.
You're a poker, not a tapper.
I am a little poker, yes. Yes, I like a good little pokey tool. There we go. I'm going to stop at that point before I get myself in deep water with that conversation, Becky. Right, pop all that off to there. And then what I've got is a couple of pieces, and this is where I said with the red, white and blue. So this is the red, it's actually the Christmas red Centura Pearl. I've stayed with Centura Pearl for all of this. And what I've done with this is I've taken some of that release sheet. So these are the pieces that I'm talking about here. And all it is it's like a cross between cardstock and foam that's tacky. So I wish I could sort of get you to come and actually, come and feel the screen and see how tacky it is there, look, yeah. Just have a go for me. Just pop your fingers there, look, and see, that's it. So it's not intended to stick your card to. If you were using like a double-sided adhesive, you would expect your card to stick to it and it remain there. That's not the job of this. The job of it is just to hold the card in place. So what I've done is I've just cut a piece the size that I needed it, and I've stuck it. I've taken that cover off the front. I've taken this piece off. This is waste, the sheet with the Crafter's Companion logo on, and then I've stuck it on the back, and I've actually got excess card here, which I'm not too worried about because this helps to, you can see that it's just peeling away, it's just coming back off again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut those balloons into here. Now if you have left it a wee bit longer at one end, just make sure that you're over the release sheet and not, the first time I did it this way and couldn't work out why I'd got nothing behind here. So yeah, that's the bit that's overhanging, so I want to stick it on that side there, and I'm just going to reuse a piece of my tape to hold it in place, and then we can pass that through the Gemini again and get that one cut out. So the whole idea of this is that we want to cut the cardstock but not the release sheet. So in order to do that, I'm going to alter my plate combination again. So normally for a metal die, we would have our magnetic shim and our opaque shim and our next cutting plate. I'm actually going to take the magnetic shim out of the equation. So the machine still applies as much pressure. Obviously that doesn't change in the Gemini ever, but because the plate combination is just a fraction thinner than it would be with the magnetic shim, the item inside isn't receiving. It's hard to explain. I was going to say isn't receiving as much pressure. Technically it does because the pressure doesn't change, but because the plates are not as thick, it's not applying as much pressure. Does that make sense?
It
Sounds
does.
wrong.
It does. No, it does make sense.
So So what's happening is when we turn it over, when I did this die cut, you could see on the back of it all the detail where it had cut. There's nothing on the back of here this time, but when I take the die off, it's cut beautifully into that Centura pearl. So you can see the top section's cut, but the back section isn't, and that's what I want. I want those pieces to stay on the card. And I've done that again in white. So I've got my release sheet on the back of this one. So I've now got one cut in red, one cut in white. And what I suggest you do at this point is get rid of the waste card, which is why it's handy to have that release piece on the end there. So all I'm going to do is take away, and if there's any pieces that you want to make sure stay in place, just make sure when you're releasing it that you're not taking any of the little, what are technically the waste pieces. Like there's one there that wants to stay in the card. I'm just going to poke that back through onto the sheet and take away, there's one there that's trying to escape. Look, you want all the pieces that would technically be the waste element to stay on the card. So again, just gently lift it away. Make sure that if there's any trying to get away with the card, I'm just using my pokey tool to hold them in place while I remove the cardstock.
So
all
just
the
do
little
gently
pieces.
and slowly.
Yeah, it is just a case of taking your time with it because you want those to stay in place. Again, there's a little piece there trying to escape in there. And then again, bring it from this side. So this is actually lifting the cardstock off that release paper, but leaving the other pieces that I've lost a couple of bits there. Look, they need to stay in place until I've decided which bits I want to use. I can grab those out of there if I need them. And then I'm going to do the same with the red one. So again, just tease that piece off. And it's just a case of lifting it gently. Because it's been through the Gemini, obviously it's wanting to stick. But just take your time and work your way around, and you can see how it just leaves all the other pieces behind. So again, nice and gentle. I've come at it from all sides rather than trying to do it in one big chunk. And make sure that all the other pieces, I've got one little tiny bit there, look, that's decided it wants to come off. But just make sure when you take it off that there's nothing in there that's technically part of the waste element. So I've now got my two pieces there that are what's left over in effect. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make a box with this one.
Okay.
So I've got my box lid at the ready, which is just our smooth all-purpose card. And this is cut to the right size to stick in the top here. All right, but I didn't want the white behind it. I wanted something else behind it. So I started off with the red. I thought, we'll put red behind it, and then I can just put the white pieces in where I want them. But I thought that was a little bit too bold. So I ended up with my inks out, and this is actually the Chinese red water reactive ink. And that one was less sort of, because it's not solid, I just found that was more what I was looking for rather than the solid piece, because all the pieces around the edge are going to be as is. We're just going to paper piece in this central part. So yeah, just have a play around and see what actually, you know, fits and suits. So I've got tape all the way around the edge because I'm working onto my ink there. And then I'm just going to pop a few of those little dotty tape pieces again on all over the inside because I want the whole piece to lay flat. So again, nice and gentle, just a light touch, and transfer some of those dots across the back of it there.
Linda Armstead says, I've just ordered the subscription box and the release sheets as well.
Fantastic,
So well done.
Well done, yeah. It is, I think it's worth having that extra set of the release sheets because I know the first time we brought them to air, I was actually down at the TV studios in Redditch and they literally sold out. We brought them on with the dies and they just went. So it's better to get it while we've got them in stock, it really is, and have that extra, you know, as I say, it's not intended to be a repeat use.
Yeah.
Once you've cut into it, it is sort of like, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
So again, just pop that piece down, turn it over onto the back to apply your pressure. And now we've actually got the backing that I wanted, and I've also got the surface that I want to work on too. So that one wants to be there, that's it. So then we can decide where we want to put all our little pieces. So again, you know, a combination of the red and the blue together. We've got the blue in the background, so I'm going to pop these little pieces at the top here. And again, all you need is a little bit of wet glue. And I would always go for this purpose with the tacky glue rather than the solvent one, the all-purpose.
Okay.
All right, the tacky glue we tend to use this if we're attaching embellishments and things like that. So the fact that we're just dropping those pieces of card back in, definitely, and that's what I decant into my little applicator bottle. So wherever you want to pop a piece back in, I'm just going to pop a little tiny bit of glue. It doesn't need a lot. And because this dries clear, it's quite forgiving in the sense that if you do get anywhere you don't want it, you're going to get that clear finish when it's dry. So then all we're going to do is take off the respective piece that we want. So I'm going to take the red to go in the little star balloon at the top there, and just drop those pieces back in. And it's actually quite therapeutic. You know, you've got the confidence of knowing that all the pieces are there. I can see exactly what I'm working with. I don't have to worry about where that last little rogue piece went when it went in the bin instead of going in the safe pile. And you can just take your time then, lift them off. I would definitely say it's worth, if you don't have any, it's worth having a look on the website and investing in a pair of the tweezers. It really does help with those little pieces. You can just see some of them are very fine, and I just think it gives you that exact placement. So again, holding that the same way that my design is, taking one off the release sheet and just dropping it straight into its corresponding space. You know, and there's a lot of repetitiveness with the demos today because this literally is the paper piecing aspect. But what we've done is tried to bring you sort of different dies that these will work with. And all of a sudden, you'll see a whole new lease of life for some of your dies that you may already have. You know, wherever you've got these cut out elements, it's an opportunity to actually paper piece some of these pieces back in again. And that release sheet, just you can see how straightforward that is. It really is. So I'm going to do a little bit of work on it. I'm not going to do every single balloon, but I just thought it would be nice to actually have some of them with extra colours in. So this one I'm going to do a combination there with the white. Okay, and again taking it from the sheet and popping it into that space. It's just so simple, honestly. It really is. Even those tiny little pieces, look how small that one is. It's just going to drop straight in there, right where it belongs, all the way down. But you can see what I meant about this being one use, because it has got the indentations on there of where we've cut against it. So I think to try and use it again could be potentially cause problems with your, you know, your next set of die cut pieces. So again, we're just going to take off that little piece there, and you can see exactly where they need to go. As I say, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm going to bring this bit where the string is. We're going to do that in the white as well.
It's
so again,
such a lovely therapeutic thing to do. It's like painting by numbers. Or...
It is, and it is now. I wouldn't have agreed with that previously, Becky. I used to find it quite stressful, paper piecing.
I can see that being the case without this.
Yeah,
you know, this
trying to find the right pieces amidst all those bits that had fell out of the die. You know, I mean, we cut the blue one out, and I've got, you know, literally all the bits here that have popped out. So trying to go through it all and finding the right bit that you want to then work out which way up it's going to be to fit back. Honestly, I just thought, no, not for me.
No.
You know, I know some people had the patience to do it, and there were lots of people out there that still enjoyed it, but this has just made it so much more accessible. So again, I think with the red, I'm not going to do masses, as I say, but I think what I'm going to do is pop this big one back in the centre here, just to give that one a bit of a lift. So again, we've got that piece here that's actually all one element. So just lift it at one side and just gently tease it off. But this piece is all one piece here, so we're going to take it all in one go. Just lift it off that release sheet, and then this one will now fit back. Because you've worked with the die, you can see how it's literally just going to sit back in place, and honestly, I just think it's brought a whole new sort of way of doing it, just so simple. So you would carry on with those as much as you want to actually fill in the detail. I'm just going to leave that there. You get the idea of how that works, and then all I was going to do with that is use my tape pen to pop this on the top of the box, and then I've just chosen some papers that are going to work with it to go around the edges of the box, and then just simple a quick stick together. So these are out of one of my paper pads, and I just thought they matched really nicely there. So again, we'll just stick those on with my tape pen. And those of you that know me know that I've inked round the edges of the paper. It just has to be done. It's one of those things that I can't not do now. So all the pieces of pattern paper here, I've just had a little bit of ink around the edge just to soften those edges. And that again is a personal thing. It's not necessary. I've just got to the state now with my OCD that I can't not do it. So it just becomes part of the operation. You know, it's like, yeah, get the ink out. Nearly always got an ink that matches what I'm doing. So just get the ink out. It takes a couple of seconds just to add it round the edges there. And it's, as I say, it's a personal thing. Some people like it, some people aren't bothered. That's absolutely fine. We're going to pop those along like so. I'm going to take the carrier off the red line tape there. This is my lid. I've just popped a little L so that I knew which one to work on. And then I've kept the white for the bottom half as well. But you could have done the bottom half of the box in one of the colours to pick out the colours there. So literally just popping those together. And then all I've got to do is pop the base ones together. And we've got our design there. So again, let's just take those off the bottom. You can add paper inside the bottom of your box if you wish, on the inside here if you want to decorate that element. I've just kept this one plain for this purpose. And again, you know, sort of if you're giving a gift in something like this, I would just pop the gift maybe in some tissue paper inside and then add that to it. So that's going to go on there like so. Beautiful. And then I've just brought my sentiment and a few little pearls if we need them there just to pop on. So I was just going to add in the centre of some of the designs there. Again, we won't do the whole thing, but just to pop in some little elements there. Just
those
to finish
finishing
off.
elements really do finish it off, don't they?
It does. I think those are the bits, you know, that you can just sort of add at your own sort of, some people like it. I love the pearls just to finish off with. I use them a lot. And these are actually the Dreamies ones, which are just lovely to work with because you get the 3 different sizes. And then we'll pop this one on the top there, I think. So again, what's going off out there?
I don't know, but there's a lot of fun going on.
I can hear there's laughter, frivolity going off out there somewhere.
I reckon someone's tickling them.
They're all happy in their work, aren't they? But you can see there, you know, just how that, maybe add a little bit more of the paper piecing into, possibly pop the little stars in the middle and that, you get the idea of how it works. But yeah, we hold you that one up there. You can just see how that's coming together.
Really clever.
And I just thought for that particular design, you know, you can translate it into any colour scheme, but I don't know why, I just had the vision of that red, white and blue in there. It was
so well.
Just works really well, doesn't it? But
Absolutely.
those dies, honestly, they are really, really easy
That's brilliant.
They give such a great finish, don't they?
They do. And using them in the way that not necessarily you would immediately think to use them. And I think that's the key thing. So these are our 3-in-1 creator card collection. So this is your balloon bouquet, and that's the one you've just seen Jan demonstrate right now. Then this one is your elegant fairy, with that beautiful fairy in a kind of woodland glade that you've got there. Your floral peacock, which is this next one here. Then you have your butterfly garden. We have then daisies and dragonflies. And then celebration cake is the final one. £60 or $70. Platinum price is £48 or $56. Lots of people saying actually they wouldn't have started doing paper piecing if they hadn't got those hold and release sheets. And actually Shaddai said I started paper piecing when I bought a dotted designs kit that I was demonstrating on another channel. It would have been some time ago, and actually as I was watching it I was thinking it's very similar. And so check out your baskets, and we will see you in a few moments when we found out what they were all laughing about.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, $1 or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
We get to know people from places and walks of life that we wouldn't come across in our everyday life if it wasn't for Crafters TV and doing what we do.
I got so many lovely comments from people when I started doing the presenting, and it was just really such a lovely feeling. And it's nice that people keep messaging in. You know, we see the same people. We know you can build up that kind of relationship with those people. So it's just the fact that people like what we do and they're pleased. And I do love it when people send us photographs of the items that they've made.
We talk about customers, but really they go in as a customer, come out as a friend. The support that I get is amazing. The messages I get are amazing.
Me personally, it is personal interaction. I've never had the best of health. I've always been open about that with our viewers at Crafters TV. So many people are in the same situation as me health-wise. Other people have got a completely different health issues. They understand and they relate to what I'm going through, what others are going through. So whether we interact on a crafting basis or whether we interact on a health basis, a personal basis, we're all there to support one another. It is incredible.
The reaction of viewers when they come to meet us is worth all of the early mornings when we have to get up for our early morning shows.
Some of the customers come on as craft ambassadors and things like that, craft along with us, and being able to actually chat with them on air. Love it. I really love that connection with them.
We've had lots of shows where we've done like craft alongs, especially where we've had viewers craft along with us. We had a particular viewer, Joy, who joined us once before, and she literally made me cry on air, and Joe, because the things she said about us, it really was quite humbling that there are people out there that watch us and invite us into their living rooms and really treat us like family.
Hello, welcome back. I hope you've been enjoying the masterclass. It's all been about paper piecing, and now we're going to do foundation paper piecing, which isn't for paper at all, just to confuse you. But, you know, actually it's all a similar, well, it's not similar, it's a similar kind of thing. And we really wanted to show you this. So this is something that we use in soft craft. So this is foundation paper piecing, which is a type of quilting that we do. So it's similar in that we're using paper in order to create a design. Now this pad that we've created really sort of demystifies the whole idea of foundation paper piecing. I've been quilting for quite a few years and I was very nervous when I looked at foundation paper piecing because it looked really, really scary. This makes it super easy, very, very simple. Now what we've done in here, we've actually created these different patterns in here, and they're made out of very fine, almost like tissue paper. And the idea is that you cut your fabric according to the sizes that we've got just over here, this page here. So you've got your details down this side with all of your measurements down here. So you cut your fabric according to those sizes, and then you will take out your paper pattern. And what you will do is you will place your pieces of fabric on the corresponding sections. So you can see there'll be A1, A2, etc., etc. And you put them together, and then you will then stitch along the straight line with your two pieces of fabric, and then fold it out. And then that creates a really beautiful design. So it creates really intricate sort of curved images that before you would have had to do by applique. And by that I mean cutting out the whole shape in one. So if I hold this up, you can see particularly on the heart that we've got here, that's probably the easiest one to start off with. You can see you've got a beautiful curve based on around that, and that is just created by stitching straight lines. It's very, very simple. You can come to make very complicated designs by using this, but actually that pad is going to take you step by step through how to put together these different designs, and it's really going to open up the opportunity for you to do some really sort of intricate foundation paper piecing. Now we do have videos on the website, so you've got full videos on there as well as the step-by-step instructions. It is very easy, and I've demonstrated it, and actually Adam's demonstrated it on softer side around about a month ago, so you can always go back and watch that again. So the price for this is £24.99, $29.95. Your platinum price is £19.99 or $23.96. But back to paper craft. We're going to go back to these really beautiful paper piecing die collection that we've got on the show today. So you've got these 4 different dies. Well, actually it's 8 dies, because you've got the outer edge die as well as the details to create all of those little pieces that you're going to put together for your paper piecing. So these are the things that actually, you know, absolutely ideal to use those release sheets with. This first one here is your trailing florals. The next one is your happy bees. Then we have radiant roses. And then the final one is butterflies and blooms. The price for this is £25 or $38. Your platinum price is £20 or $30.40. And Jan, you're going to be using these ones in the next demonstration, is that right?
We are. We're going to do those little happy bees. Little bees.
Happy bees.
Yes, it's a really nice one, this one. Well, they're all nice, to be honest. You know, you sort of like, it would be pushed to choose a favourite, but I know the bees are a popular design in a lot of our products. So, yeah, just for the benefit of people that have joined us for this show that weren't watching this morning, these are a nice little size to work with to create sort of that topper element of your card. So you've got 2 pieces in the fact that the main die, the detailed die, doesn't have that external cutting edge again. So although it's going to cut out all that lovely detail inside, this external edge will cut into your project. So for example, if you wanted to have a little gift box with this detail cut into the top of the box, you would just use this piece by itself. I actually want to make it into a little frame, so I'm going to bring in basically what is the external edge of it. That's got the full rectangle now for the cutting edge, and I'm going to cut them together to actually create a frame to then work with inside. Now I'm just going to make sure again, I've just seen when I was looking at that somewhere, where did it go? There was a little piece, it might have dropped out. Oh, there it is. I'm going to say I've just seen a little piece still hiding in my die. So when we cut these together, I've actually done that ahead of time this time, just to give you that lovely little frame here. So that's exactly what we've cut. If I put this back in place, you can see how that's gone over the top there. Pop it the right way around, that way. and then this is the external edge that's cut out the rest of the frame to make it into a topper there. So I've just used some of our matte black cardstock for that, and then I've matted it onto a piece of acetate.
Okay.
If we're going to paper piece, you obviously need something behind to stick those pieces to. So depending on what your design is and what you're wanting the finished sample to look like, as to whether you go for acetate behind here because you want that clear quality. One of the ones we did this morning, we had vellum behind it. It could be straight onto your pattern paper because obviously the paper piecing elements are going to cover whatever's underneath it anyway. So, but you do need something, otherwise you've just got the open spaces of the die with nothing underneath to stick to. So it needs something underneath there. And then I'm going to bring in that release sheet again, and we're going to keep talking about this one just so that everybody is at sort of au fait. I know if you're buying into the product, I want to make sure that everybody understands how this works. So it comes in an A5 sheet, and it's got the carrier sheet, which is the piece with the logo on the front. So I normally just use my pokey tool to get the corners started, and you can see where it just pulls back. And then we've got that tacky sort of sheet there. It's not sticky. All right, it's not meant to stick card to like you would with a double-sided adhesive sheet. It is just a card holder, for want of a better word. So what I'm going to do is I've actually taken my piece already. I've just got some yellow card, and I've stuck a piece on the back here. So all I've done is put my card down, cut it to size so that I'm not wasting the piece that I don't need to use, and then I've just popped my piece of scrap yellow on the top there. So it's literally underneath, and it's not stuck, it's just tacked it into place there. And then we're going to use the die element again, and I only need the middle part here, and we're going to pop this through the Gemini. Okay. So all I actually want the yellow for is the centres of the flowers. So that's why I've not done the whole sheet. You can actually do the whole design again, but I literally just went through my scrap folder and just pulled out a piece that I needed. So you'll see me there put the pieces together and then very quickly whip out the magnetic shim. Because I don't want to cut this out in its entirety and cut through that holder, that piece of release, hold and release sheet, I just want it to cut the card. I've taken my magnetic shim out, and that's the important part, because with the magnetic shim in that combination as well, there's a danger of it cutting all the way through. Everybody knows the power of that pressure in the Gemini, and if it cuts all the way through, you're not actually gaining anything because you're going to still have all those pieces separate. The idea is that the cardstock cuts, but it stays in place on that piece of foam, that release sheet. So if I turn this over now, there's none of that we're used to where you can see all the design on the back of it. The back piece is still intact, but when we take it off the actual die, you can see that the top piece has cut beautifully there.
Yep.
So then what I'm going to do is take away the element that I don't need. And what I want is those, for the yellow, literally, I just need the little centres of the flowers. So just those two corners, we're literally going to pop the pokey tool in there and lift the cardstock. And I just want to reveal those little centres of the flowers. And then we also need the pieces for the little bumblebee. So again, just pulling it back to get rid of the waste, but making sure that the bits that we need that are technically the waste that would normally be used to falling out of the die when we've cut it, these are the pieces that I want to keep. So again, I've got another little guy at this side, so I'm just going to take that extra card from around it. It just makes it easier to find the pieces that you need. And then I'm not too worried about the rest of it there. And then I've done exactly the same on a piece of cream cardstock, and I've weeded out all that detail again because I want the flower petals for the daisies in the cream. So we've got our two pieces at the ready. I'm going to work on here again so that you can see what I'm doing. Make sure we've got this the right way round. That's that one. And then again, come back to that glue. So just using our tacky glue, okay, which is a dries clear PVA glue, which I decant into the little bottle here because that fine applicator comes in handy for this job. And then because this is not a self-adhesive sheet, remember it is just a holding sheet, none of these pieces are actually sticky. So we need to apply the glue into those areas where we want to stick. And this is why you need something else underneath it, so that you can apply the glue then to put the pieces back in. So I'm going to go all the way around the little daisy there, and then literally just take off the corresponding pieces off here, and it's exactly like I've just done. If you've been watching the last demo with the balloon, I'm doing exactly the same. We've just got the different design and the different coloured pieces of cardstock. But it's amazing how quick and simple it is when you've got them all there in the right place to literally just take off the carrier sheet and straight into your design there. So we're going to have the little daisies in the cream, and I'm just turning the artwork round to match where I've got to on my release sheet. And you can see how quick it is now.
Yeah.
It really is so simple when everything's where it should be, and you know exactly which piece comes next, and that it's gonna, you're confident, you know, that that's the next piece, so that one's gonna fit in the next gap. It's just taken all the, it's ingenious, honestly. Again, hats off to Leanne's team, because something like this just makes it much more enjoyable, much more accessible to people, you know, especially if you're wanting, even crafting along with the children, I think would enjoy doing this. And again, I would definitely, if you don't have any already, I would definitely invest in a pair of tweezers, which you can find on our website. And again, I'm just going to go flip to the yellow one there, and we've got that one, I think.
And as a recipient, you would look at that and think, my goodness, they've, you'd
Hours.
probably think, actually, so that person's cut all those individual pieces out.
It's just
do they know?
Just working, yeah, just sort of working your way around it. And like you say, I always think, you know, if you can make a card like that, where, like you say, the recipient's like, how on earth have they, you know, the touch, how on earth have they done that? I think that's the bit where the sort of the intrigue comes in, isn't it?
I totally agree.
So again, you know, if you're not sure about which bit's which, get rid of the pieces that you don't need. So get rid of those outside pieces, so it just leaves, like that bit's not part of the equation. And you can see clearly now which bits belong in that little flower there. So again, 1, 2.
Janet Boyd says, these are my favourite paper piecing dies. Lots of people coming in saying the dies are amazing. Tess says these dies are gorgeous. Nancy, I like these dies. They are really beautiful. And you're getting such an amazing finished product, which looks so complicated, but you've actually made it super easy.
It is, and I mean, these have been designed specifically for this purpose. We actually refer to them as paper piecing dies. They were actually designed with this in mind, so they've all been designed with those nice little open areas that you can transfer these extra pieces into, and the fact that all that's been done for you, so you just get to do, you know, the enjoyable bit, which is the playing. You know, it's brilliant, and they're a nice size as well, because we've got, you know, dies that are all different sizes. I mean, the last one I've just used was quite a big die, that 5x7, but these come up at just under, they're 5 1/4 long by 3 1/4 across. So again, a nice sort of size. They're big enough to be a focal point on a project, but they're not too big that you can't decorate around it as well. So if you wanted to make a bigger card with this as, you know, an element on top, you've got the room to do that. So again, pop that last one in there, and then I'm going to flip to the yellow one again and just take the centre out of the little daisy there. And you can see how, just straightforward, it really does make it nice and straightforward there. And then I'll do one of the little bees as well, and then obviously we'd normally do the same at the other side, but I can see that time's ticking away again. So again, just going to pop a, and you don't need much glue, and the reason I've gone for the tacky glue is because it dries clear. So if you do happen to get any on the rest of it, don't worry about it, just let it dry, and it literally will dry nice and clear in there. So again, we just want to take these extra little bits here and pop them. That one's decided to flip over, turn back, where are we? That's because you've taken the wrong bit, Jan, that's why. I thought that was a bit odd. It's that one I want there. I can't pick them up. When I was watching Sarah do this, she picked them up with the pokey tool, but I can't do it like that. I have to use my little tweezers there. That's the bit that goes in the bottom there, that's it. I was trying to work out why that other piece didn't fit. So again, just picking it up. That's why the tweezers come in handy, because these are little tiny pieces that you would really, you know, sort of struggle with normally in getting these into the right place. But just by picking them up with the tweezers there, you can see that we've got, I don't know whether I've got the right, have I got the right bee? I think I should have been working with that one. I thought they were symmetrical from one side to the other, but I don't think they are.
You mixed up your bees.
Little sticky ones there, look, that's it. That piece is from there. That piece is from there. And that one is from there. So you can just see how, you know, they're tiny little pieces, but it just works. It really does. I can't get them with the pokey tool. I'm going to have to ask Sarah for a little bit of insight into how she did that. That last bit's evading me. There we go, in the middle there. And you can see how you've got that gorgeous little bee in there then. So I would do the same at this side as well, so that you've got both pieces done. But obviously I can see that clock ticking away, and we want to fit in as much as I can. So this time, again, you know, think about what your card style wants to be. I've just popped together a little easel card for this one. So just some matting and layering. Just, chose some papers that sort of echoed that colour scheme that I've got on the top there. So we've got a mat and layer for the bottom there. We've got another one, and again I've just used a little bit of that rose gold glitter card behind there. That's going to go on the front like so, and then we're going to pop our panel. When I've finished, I would finish the other pieces at this side, and then literally I've just used my very, very thin, the narrowest one of the red line tape there.
Yep.
Just the right width to go around the edge of the frame there. Because I've put acetate behind it, obviously I don't want to run the dots too far over it. I can just stick that frame down.
You've already got that very fine frame in there,
yeah,
haven't you?
it's just the right size to sort of fit on the top there. And then because it's an easel card, we've got that little bit of a stopper at the bottom with some foam on my sentiment there, and it says, "You brighten my day." So again, I'm just going to use that at the bottom there to act as the stopper. So again, when we turn that one round, you can just see, if you imagine that the other half of that's paper pieced as well there, it just brings them to life. I mean, this is lovely in its own right, just with the black outline. If you know, you just want to do the silhouette, absolutely fine. But just by adding that extra little bit of detail in there and just seeing how easy it is with those release sheets, it just brings it to life.
It absolutely does.
It really does.
Beautiful. That's really, really lovely. Yet another fantastic make. So
Thank
these
you.
are our paper piecing dies. This is the one that Jan's just used. This is the Happy Bees, which is really, you know, you can see how stunning that is. Even just piecing in a couple of those flowers, I think this is going to become quite addictive, this paper piecing. Then you've got your trailing florals with those pretty little flowers there. The next one is your radiant roses. And then finally you have your butterflies and blooms. So the price today for all 4 of these is £25 or $38. Your platinum price is £20 or $30.40. The other thing that so many of you have been really excited to get is our paper piecing box. So this is one of our craft boxes, which has got everything you need to get started with your paper piecing. So if you've been inspired by all of those demonstrations that Jan's been doing for us today, and you're not ready perhaps to get all of the dies, you just want to see how it goes, this is definitely the box for you. This has got all the bits and pieces you need to create about 16 cards, at least 16 cards. So you've got the dies in there, you've got paper, you've got cardstock, you've got envelopes, you've got embellishments, all sorts of different things. £15 or $15. Platinum price is £12 or $12. This is absolutely the thing to go for if you want it as a little gift for somebody. You've got Christmas coming up, Secret Santa maybe for somebody that you work with that's really into crafting and perhaps hasn't tried paper piecing. This is the thing to have, definitely. And you're going to do another demonstration on this one, aren't you, Jan?
Yes, we're going to have another look. So shall we have a look through the box again?
Absolutely.
For the benefit of people that have joined us during the show? So let me just move all that to one side. So again, you know, if you are a collector of these boxes, you will know the format kind of thing. If you're new to them, they're actually sort of a craft kit all in one, bringing you everything that you need in order to sort of make the designs. The only thing that you would need to add is some kind of glue or adhesive to your equation. So box number 50, for those of you that are collecting them, and it is because we chose the paper piecing show today. This one is literally all about paper piecing, and you've got 2 beautiful dies in there. You've got the butterfly and the flower, and this is the one that we did earlier on in the show if you've joined us later on, and we've just cut out that lovely rose and added in the yellow and the green just to paper piece in the detail there. Papers and the background card and the ribbon are all from the set, as is the sentiment there. So literally everything, including the card blank. The only thing I've added to this was a little bit of scrap green card and some adhesive just to pop that one together. So inside here then, we have got all the goodies, and they're all listed on the back of the box so you can see what's in there. But if we just take some of these pieces out of the top, I like to sort of start at the bottom and work my way back.
And everything's so beautifully packaged, and like you say, being able to use those little envelopes.
They are, and I just love the fact that it's that look polka dot as well. It's I always save them. I must admit, I've got a little stash of them. Really, really nicely presented. So in the bottom there, we've got 2 packs. One is the solid card and one is the pattern paper. So we've got a selection of cardstock in the colours. Okay, you can see there those different colour palettes. And then we've got black and white card, which are really nice for that outline work. I use the black one to cut the outline of the die out on this one. And then you've got a selection of papers that tone beautifully with those cardstocks. So you can see, you know, if you like to sort of work in monochrome, you've got that lovely green one, which is what we're going to use. We're going to use these 2 in conjunction with some of the green. You know, we used this one earlier with the pinky colour. Really, really pretty patterns to use. And then obviously once you've used those up, you've got all those papers that you've got in your paper pads and things like that you can actually use in conjunction with this. And then, as always in all the kits, we provide you with a set of card blanks. These are all a little 6x4 notelet card size, which are just the right size for the dies that are in here, you know, so they've been made with those in mind. And matching envelopes. So you've got a set of cards and envelopes to go in with those. And then the dies are sort of the star of the show here. We've got the butterfly die that we're going to use next. And then we've got that lovely rose, which is the one that I used earlier, which actually brings this design into play there. Okay, so that's the metal work there. And then we've got a lovely little stamp set in there as well, which has got some really nice sentiments on here. So if you have a look on there, you know, you've got everyday sentiments, and then you've got some that are a little bit more sort of like fluttering by to say, live life in full bloom. You can see that they've been chosen to match those dies beautifully. Yep. And then as always, we've got our embellishments in there as well. But the other element that we've put in, which is what you've been seeing me using all the way through this show, is that hold and release sheet. And we've popped you a little wodge of those in there to use in conjunction with the dies. And that's what I'm going to show you in the demo. And then the last bit is your embellishments. So we've got 3 different sizes of the satin ribbon there, all in colours that are going to coordinate beautifully with that set of papers. And then we've got, sometimes they are coloured adhesive gems, sometimes, and these ones, I love these, are the little clear dewdrops there. So again, either using them clear as they come to you or colouring them with your alcohol markers to make them into little coloured gems to match your designs again. So absolutely crammed with everything that you're going to need. And that's exactly what I've done for the demo. I've taken a bit of all sorts. So if I just pop this out of here, I've taken one of the card blanks at the back there. So we've got our card blank. I've taken some of the papers and just made myself a nice little mat layer that's going to sit on top. And I've chosen 2 of the papers and just covered the seam with some of the ribbon out of there. I've used the Have a Beautiful Day from that stamp set to create my sentiment. And then I'm going to use the black again to cut the butterfly. So we're just going to pop that straight onto the black card there. I will stick it down just so that it doesn't fly away. And then pass that through as normal through the Gemini or your MIDI, whatever you're working with.
I have had a question, and it's a bit of a random question. It's all right. This is from Sophie. She says it's a question for you, but it's quite random because she thinks you're one of the people that might know the answer. Right. She spilt Kalal all-purpose glue on the carpet at some point, and it's dried and stuck. Would rubbing alcohol or alcohol dissolve make it tacky? If so, hopefully I can then remove it. What would you recommend?
It is solvent based, yes, so it would probably need something along those lines to remove it. Now, before you tried it on the main part of the carpet, I think I would test that out first. Okay. So yeah, perhaps I would perhaps do a little bit of research first on that one. It's not something I've ever experienced or been asked before, but I do know that the all-purpose is a solvent base. So it's going to need some kind of solvent cleaner to get it off. But literally, I don't want to say to you, yes, put that on your carpet and you end up with a massive big hole in your carpet. So it may be if you've got a little tiny tester piece left over from carpet, or if you've got a piece, in a corner that doesn't show, it might be worth trying it first. But it will definitely need something along those lines. I know if you've been painting with solvent paint, you have to put the brushes in terps to get the paint out. So I know the two work together, but it's not something that I would feel confident saying, yes, go ahead with, because I don't want you to be responsible for ruining the carpet. Now, if you've got the glue on it already, you could argue that the carpet's already got a patch on it that's no good, but yeah, solvent and solvent work together on the same basis that a water-based glue, I would advise water to get it out, but it's just that which solvent cleaner would you use is the bit that I'm not really sure about.
Sometimes using two chemicals together could create fumes that might be great for you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I don't think it's something that I would recommend. Now, having said that, on the 6 p.m. show, we've actually got our Leanne in the house, and she might know the answer.
Okay.
So it may be that we ask her at 6 o'clock if she can add to that for you, because obviously it's distressing when you've got things like that you want to get cleaned up. So yeah, if I'll try and remember at 6 o'clock to ask our Leanne, because anything that Leanne doesn't know is not worth knowing. So if she's come across that before, it may be that she can add something to it for us. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Okay. So I'm literally going to take off my outside layer, and in there then we've got that nice little sort of skeleton outline of the butterfly. Really, really delicate. It doesn't need to be anything too fancy because we're going to use this then to pop on our card and start and add those paper pieces back in. So again, I just need to tap all those extra pieces out because if we're going to recut this, it is important to make sure that your die is clean. So you want all the pieces back out again. And normally this is what we were saying about paper piecing. You know, you'd have this pile here that you've maybe tried to keep together, but there's always bits of it, you know, that get in the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that system again whereby it saves it all. So piece of the release sheet, piece of the cardstock, and this is actually card from the kit. And then it's a case of lifting the release piece, which is the piece with the logo on. Oops, just the release piece, Jan. I don't want to take the whole thing off. There we go. So you want the tacky bit still showing. This bit's rubbish now. And then you're going to pop your piece of card onto the top of it there, and it just holds it in place. It's not intended to stick it down. And then literally we're going to cut that butterfly again. So I'm just going to stick it back down with that piece that we've already used and pass that through our Gemini. Now the best tip that I can give you at this point is to omit your magnetic shim. You just want the frosted shim and your 2 clear plates, because all we're wanting to achieve is cutting that cardstock. We don't want to cut through the actual foam sheet part, the holding sheet. So by taking away the magnetic shim means that it's not had as much pressure put to it and it hasn't cut through the whole design there. So when we take the butterfly die off the front, it's cut through this one, but it's not cut all the way through the back.
Perfect.
So what I've done there is I've done that on a couple of other pieces of scrap card. So I've gone on the lilac and I've gone on the green as well. Just pick some colours out that tone nicely with the design. And what we're going to do then is just have a go at popping bits back in. So again, I'm just going to put my matte layer back down onto the card, and we're going to stick straight onto the card blank here. So it doesn't matter that I've not backed my butterfly with anything else, because I'm going to work straight onto the card. So again, some nice little dots on the back of this one. Just nice and gentle so that we can stick that one down. So
Margaret
nice.
said, would double-sided sticky sheets do the same job?
The trouble with the sticky sheets is that the card would stick to it.
Right.
And that's the purpose of those. And then you're into, when we come to the next bit, which is actually releasing these pieces, you'd find with the double-sided sticky sheet that they were actually stuck down.
Right.
So then you've got to wrestle with it to actually take off these pieces that are on here. They're not attached, they're just held in place. Whereas on a sticky sheet, you would be wrestling the adhesive to get them back off, and the chances are is that you're going to actually dislodge it and damage those pieces. So I wouldn't recommend it, which is why we've actually designed that new product purely for that purpose. So again, all it is, it's a case of deciding, you know, what colour you want where, and we'll not do the whole thing again because it's the same process. But just to pop a little bit of glue in the gap and then decide what colour you want to do, and you can see how easy these just come back off that sheet. Whereas, as I say, if it was double-sided adhesive, these would actually be, especially popping it through your Gemini, it would really have sealed it in place and stuck it to the self-adhesive sheet. Yeah. It's sort of, I'm always talking about things being fit for purpose, you know, so there's a reason why this has been designed, and this is literally fit for that purpose. It's been designed to do what it says on the tin. So again, just popping them back into the gaps there. And you can do as much or as little as you wish. You know, you might want to just do that inside piece and stop there. Okay, you might want to take it further round. We're going to actually pop some of the, We can put some of the yellow pieces in. As I say, I'm not going to do the whole thing because it is repetitive now. You've seen how they work. I'm going to alternate the colours there, I think. We'll go with the yellow on every other one. So all I've done is popped a little bit of glue into the gap, and then from that sheet I'm just taking the corresponding piece, and you can see how quick it is, literally just dropping it back into the gap, and then in the middle bits we'll go with the green one. So again, just swapping it over again, going to the piece that we want there. Oops. And then just dropping it back. And that's why you just need that little bit of glue onto your design, because this isn't sticky. It's not meant to be sticky, it is just tacky. So that there's not actually any glue on this piece now, which is why we're popping the glue into the actual well that it's left in the die cut there. So that one and that one. And again, you know, you get the idea with that there. And again, it depends where you want to put all the pieces. We'll go back to the purple one in there, and then
and like you say, you can use all of the extra pieces that you haven't used on those hold and release sheets for the next project.
Yeah, for each time you do it, you'll probably get at least 2 designs out of it. But you can see how that's building up there now.
It's lovely, really lovely.
So I'm going to go with the green in that one, and then we'll pop the yellow. But you can see, because it's been die cut, you know, with the same die, it's so easy now to find the right piece to pop in the gap there. And then again, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 in the green. So these are the bottom ones. And then just following it round, I'm just literally skipping one so that we can pop a contrasting colour in on there. And then I'm going to go back to the yellow ones again just to fill in the gap. But it really, I can't sort of explain just how straightforward it's made it now. It's just so easy to do. And relatively quick as well now.
Yeah. When I used to see paper pieced cards, I used to think they would take forever, and I suppose they would have taken forever.
It used to take a long time, it really did, yeah. And as I said, that's one of the reasons why it sort of put me off a little bit. But you can see now, you know, we do repeat it and do the same at the other side to match, but you can see how it's all sort of fit nicely. And then I've just got a little bit of a sentiment there.
Even left like that, just with half of it done, looks right.
Yep. So just pop that on the bottom, and again you've got those little dewdrop pieces if you want to add some of those. But you can see there, if we just move everything to one side for you, just really nice and simple, but very effective there. So have a beautiful day.
Really nice. So this is your craft kit. So if you could get your, actually we'll do the vote for the show if you don't mind, if you get your makes done. So this is the monthly craft kit. So this is your paper piecing one, which has got all of those different elements in order to make around about 16 cards. So you've got your card blanks, you've got your envelopes, you've got all those embellishments, your card stock, and also your papers as well. £15, $15, or £12, $12, depending on if you're a platinum a platinum price. You know what I mean, Club Inspire, platinum price. It's one of those days. It's been a long week for me. But we're going to go over to the vote, because they're all beautiful as always. Difficult choice to make, I think.
So it was all about the paper piecing this afternoon then. So I'm hoping that I've sort of been able to share with you how easy it's made it with those sheets. So number one, we started off with that lovely craft kit, and that was the rose from the kit there. So that's number one. Number 2, we went to those beautiful 3-in-1 dies and we made the little celebration gift box there with the balloons. So that's number 2. Number 3 were the paper piecing dies that were created for that purpose. Those lovely little images there with the bees and the daisies is number 3. And then we went back to the subscription box and we've just done the butterfly there on number 4. So 1, 2, 3 or 4.
Lovely. If you get your votes in, we'll be able to find out the winner of that in a few moments. Kathy Myers says, I love all my sub boxes. Tess said, I love all the colours that you've used. And Rhonda says, I've just been mesmerised. And actually it's one of those things, just watching it is a lovely thing to watch. So really, really beautiful. We've also got the 3-in-1 creator card die collection on the show today. So if you've been watching, you'll see that Jan made one of the demos using this balloon one. So this is your balloon bouquet. So you've got 2 different dies here. You've got the outer die and you've also got the inner die, but you can make 3 different types of cards with each one of these. And the next one is your elegant fairy with that sort of woodland glade. Then you've got your floral peacock, which is really beautiful. They're all beautiful, let's be honest. This is your butterfly garden. Then we have daisies and dragonflies here. And this would work really beautifully with the dragonfly collection, wouldn't it, that we had on the show yesterday. Then the final one is your celebration cake. Great for weddings and also any kind of parties that you're going to. £60 or $70. Your platinum price is £48 or $56. So definitely worth doing. And I think everyone is saying they've learned so many different things today. Doing those paper piecing, actually seeing those hold and release sheets is really quite key. And remember, those are available on the website as well. Jan, you're going to be here later on with Leanne, aren't you, for the show launch party?
Yes, I am. I'm back at 6 o'clock with our Leanne, so not worked with her for ages.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah.
And we will definitely ask Leanne that question about the glue.
Yes.
And take advantage of the fact that Leanne is here. So if you've got some questions, send them in so we can answer those for you. And we're also hoping to have Tiffany on the show as well. So we've got some lovely bags and everyone wants to organise all of your bits and pieces for your crafting goodies. But actually the bags are really, really useful for other things as well. I know a lot of you seem to use them in your bathrooms and also garages as well for organising all your bits and pieces. Not got a mirror just yet, nearly, very soon. I'm not back here until a week on Friday. I've got a few days off. I've got some wedding dress shopping with my niece and I've got 2 parties to go to. Who knew? I have months with no parties and then 1 week with 2. I'm such a social butterfly. And I do have a new launch on next Friday on Softer Side, which is your cut and stitch dies. So you'll be able to see those. But I will be on Sewing Street tomorrow at 9 a.m. if you can't wait that long to see me. We do have a demo of the show, and it is number 3.
Number 3, that was the little honeybees, wasn't
Congratulations.
it? Yeah. Lovely.
Really
Thank you very much.
Yep, make sure that's brilliant. Well done. I love all of those. They're all beautiful, and I think everyone's really enjoyed seeing paper piecing actually in the flesh, as it were, or the paper, whichever way you look at it. I've got opportunity for you to check out your baskets, have a little bit of a break. I'm going to jump in my car and drive down to Sewing Street, but Leanne and Jan will be with you at 6 p.m, 1 p.m, or 10 a.m, depending on where you are. Have a good afternoon.